Well, as the country waits, as National Labour and the Greens wait, and as some commentators reach spontaneous combustion levels of exasperation, a three-term New Zealand First MP who missed out on getting back this election by 2 list places has a pretty good idea of what will be going on. Pita Paraone, first elected on the New Zealand First list in 2002, believes that whilst National did indeed win 56 seats to Labour's 46, it's the 55% of voters who didn't vote National who've sent the most meaningful message to New Zealand First.
Not only were they telling New Zealand First, but they were telling all political parties that there was a desire for change. And that's notwithstanding that one party got a majority of the electoral seats. But if you consider the way people voted, irrespective of which party, those who voted against the status quo far exceeded those who's by virtue of their own voting supported the status quo. So in my mind, there seemed to be a desire for change in government.
So what impact will that sense have on New Zealand First's considerations about which way they should go?
Oh, I think it will certainly have some impact in terms of their consideration, but not only that, they will also consider the future of the party come 2020. And so all of that will be part of the mix that the present caucus will and the board members would need to consider.
And would it be your expectation that the future of the party come 2020, which is the next election obviously, would be a future post-Winston Peters himself?
I wouldn't say that because with my experience with him, there's a lot of energy there, and his intellect is still sharp as ever. So I wouldn't write him off, but I'm sure that he will be considering leaving the party with a strong foundation going into the future.
And a sense of momentum. And your concern, I suspect, is that it's going to be easier to do that after one term of a Labour government, Labour-led government, than after 4 terms of a National-led government.
That is certainly my belief. But at the end of the day, the caucus and the board will make their decision on the evidence that they've been presented with.
You were number 11 on the list, so you missed out by 2 places. If you had been there, if you had been sitting there today with the board and the caucus and you'd gone round the table, which way would you have voted to go?
Well, I would have certainly reminded people of the obvious wins for change, and I would certainly remind us of our long-term future. But at the end of the day, I would also consider how many of our policies were similar or got support from the other 2 parties. And I think that will also be a consideration that the board and the parliamentary caucus will have to consider.
Pita Paraone talking to us earlier this afternoon. So here's a 3-term New Zealand First MP, number 11 on the list. Of course, they got 9 MPs in. And we are now just able to confirm that it looks like negotiations, discussions, contemplations will begin tomorrow morning recommence tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. The New Zealand First Board and caucus trying to work out what their response is to the offers, the concessions, the accommodations they have received from National and Labour, and discuss whether or not they want to be part of a formal coalition inside Cabinet with collective Cabinet responsibility, which means you're weighed down by having to agree with your senior coalition partner or sit outside Cabinet. All of those discussions will resume tomorrow morning.